Ah,
That's better. How you doing, folks? Welcome to the Monkeyshine Lab. Here with myself and Lambo has just joined me in my lab. So, I guess Cat's part of a show. Um, I got to tell you, I've been very busy at my workbench today, but I have not been doing anything of a nerdish nature. I've been fixing things from around the house that need fixing that have been sitting on my desk so that I can clear some area and just basically kind of doing some general tidying in here.
And cleaning around the house and stuff today, so I'm gonna kind of phone it in a little bit. Gonna be a little lazy, but kind of like Mr. Rogers taking his shoes off and taking his loafers off. Let's turn on the lights. Let's crank up the music.
Actually, what we're going to do today is we're going to do a bit of a film review, but I haven't done one of these in a little while. This is what's called a What is Wrong with You movie review. And basically, what this focuses on is a film that you may not have thought to sit through. A film that you may want to go find, or a film that you may want to avoid. I've actually had some viewers thank me for telling them about certain movies so that they would not get tricked into sitting in front of it. So you're welcome. Glad to do it. Today's film is called Tokyo Gore Police. Now, okay, the name alone kind of says it, but there's a lot of blood and splatter in this one. So before I get to talking about it, let's have our usual disclaimer time. So, Tokyo Gore Police. It is a Japanese film, and it is set in a dystopian future where the police force has been turned into a corporation. It has been turned into a publicly traded commodity, which they make constant reference and fun of. Constant reference to and fun of in this film. The feeling that you get from it is a little bit like if you've seen Starship Troopers, where the bombardment of sarcasm and funny commercials and stuff like that is kind of sprinkled all through the film, talking about, gung-ho nationalism and stuff, and how the privatization of the police is a good thing for everyone's life. And so to that end, we find our hero. She is what's known as a hunter. Her job is to hunt down these they're mutants. They keep finding these criminals that have this mutation in them, that if they lose an appendage or whatever, it comes back as a weapon. And every time they take one of these things down, the only way they can take one of these things down is to find and destroy a key-shaped tumor, which is in the person. So they're incredibly hard to kill as well. And that's why she's a part of this specialized force. Now, they give you a little bit of her backstory. She was a social misfit and maybe even sort of an orphan who is taken in by a woman who owns a sort of a hot sake nightclub kind of food counter bar, little tiny place. She was taken in by this woman and raised. She becomes this hunter cop in the police force, and her father figure is really sort of this commander of the police force, because her father was killed when she was just a baby. And that's the way the film opens. Is this guy getting killed? And I don't want to get into all of the details of this film, because as always with everything that I review on a What Is Wrong With You review, it's all stuff that it's the pop, the surprise is the fun. Okay, so I'm not going to get into a tremendous amount of screenshots over this. I don't spoil films. I don't believe in that, and I think that this movie is definitely worth sitting through. I've watched it 5 times now, probably in the last 3 months. I spread it out, but I have watched it at least 5 or 6, maybe even 6 times. Just starts and not finishing the film. I've watched it a bunch, and here's what I love about it. The acting is great. The cinematography is great. The splatter and all that stuff is really good. But outside of that, there's some really great music. There's some really interesting and tasty social commentary in this, which is sort of unlike the culture to do, in terms of there's a lot of criticism going on here. There's a lot of warning going on here too, it mixed in with all of the fantasy. And again, I'm not going to ruin how we go with our hero and how she progresses through her understanding and dawning and figuring out where she comes from, who killed her father, and all of the other great tropes that this kind of stuff throws at you. They even have just a traditional Japanese cinema of the hero crossing a bridge as we get to the acme of the film. There's a lot here that is disgusting. There is a lot here that is sexual in nature. There is a lot of things here that is disgusting and sexual in nature. And all of it surrounded by gore, violence. It never really lets up for very long in terms of there's very little melodrama going on in here. You figure out who she is along with her, and I don't think the film overstays its welcome, even though it is a little bit longer than most in this subset of science fiction and horror movies. Nobody does splatter like Asian countries, China, Japan. They are the absolute undisputed tops of physical effect violence and most of the effects in this film, if not all, really are all practical effect. So all of the mutations, all of the weaponry, and everything else that comes out of these mutants and etc. during a fight or whatever is all done on screen, you know. And you don't see that a lot anymore. This sort of blood splatter is it's an art form, you know. So when somebody gets cleaved with a sword, you see them from the other side and they split open, and then there's just gouts of blood going, you know. It's insane. Okay. But the whole film is based on insanity. It's based on technology going too far. It's based on everything on it, and everything in it is based in the excesses of the future. And you know, it's a pretty interesting warning piece, as they all are. Anyway, it's called Tokyo Gore Police. Please check it out. I watched it for free on Tubi. They have two versions on Tubi. One is the original Japanese language version, and the other is an English dub. Now, I don't often say this because I allow people to consume their cinema the way they want to do it. But in terms of this piece, I think that you really need to watch it in the original language with the original voices, because all of the sarcasm and character, over-the-top character that comes from these actors, I don't really feel like it was portrayed very well in the English dub. I tried to watch the English dub a little bit just to kind of see if I could comment on that. I really do advise that you try to watch it in the original language. The actors are all excellent, and it's an infectious film, which is funny to say because you'll see if you watch it what I'm talking about. This movie gets under your skin. It gets between your ears. The music alone, the soundtrack of the music, I want the soundtrack to this movie. I want every song that's in this film so I can listen to it in my car. I mean, that's how good it is, I really feel. Anyway, there you have it. There's a film review. I haven't done it in a little while, and I've been waiting to do this one, and I'm not really sure what for. But yeah, Tokyo Gore Police. It is everything you hope for and so much more. Let's do something else.